Hello, welcome to another episode of Soul Sessions. I'm Deborah Maldonado.
I'm Dr. Rob.
And we are excited to go deeper into the Anima and Animus for the next two episodes.
Yeah.
We had a previous session on that a few weeks ago and got lots of great feedback, so we thought we'd go deeper. And today we are going to talk about the anima and the power of love. And before we begin, I do want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already. We'd love to see you here every week. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, make sure you click the button in the corner to subscribe to our channel. So, anima.
Yeah, what is the anima?
Anima.
What does it do? Why do we need one?
It's kind of a strange word. And the source is Carl Jung.
Yeah, we're lucky that he wrote a lot about the anima, of course, because he was dealing and working with his own psyche. And as a man, or he identified as a man, therefore, for him, the challenge was to connect to this anima that is an archetype in the collective unconscious. So an archetype, we can start to define it the way he did. He said the archetype connects the conscious mind with the unconscious mind. In other words, it's a bridge.
And so let's go a little deeper. What is an archetype? Because people hear that term. It's really, I like to think of it as simple description of a universal pattern. It's something that we all share as human beings. Archetypal patterns are something that everyone has some kind of relationship to, even if you don't have a personal experience. So like we have personal experience and our personal unconscious, and then there's the collective unconscious, which contains the archetypes. We're sort of like the building blocks or matrix of humanity and all the things that make us human that are instinctual in us, we're born with. So like the idea of birth, it would be an archetype. So it's not just, some people think of it as like a personality, like the king and the queen and the joker and all those type of archetypes. Characters. Yeah. But this is really, it's more than that. Think of it as more of a process or something that we all, that influence us in our lives. That's universal.
Yeah, that's a pretty good explanation.
Thanks, Rob.
In a nutshell.
I try to make things practical.
Yeah, and so Jung always emphasized in his writings that he was an empiricist. What that means in psychology is that he's inviting us to add to his theories, because an empiricist is saying, I'm going by the evidence that I have collected so far.
Mm-hmm. And this was over 100 years ago?
Yes.
More than 100 years.
Which means as more information comes into a scientific system, you modify, right? You add to the theory, which means we keep evolving it, right? And so that's what we're doing. We have a lot more information about the brain, about the mind, as well as a lot more information on Eastern philosophy, which he used a lot in formulating his theories.
And also he developed the Anima and Animus, the masculine and feminine archetype concept back in the Victorian times. And men and women had very distinct roles back then compared to now the modern world. So we have to have a little bit of, not questioning, but evolution of these concepts.
Yeah, we have to be a lot more open about the definition and the function of these masculine and feminine archetypes. So the anima, by his definition, was the soul, the feminine energy in the psyche. So, like you were saying, it's evolved since then. So we don't want to simply restrict it to the idea of it's only a feminine element,
or female,
or only men need to integrate this element in the psyche, this archetype. Everyone has to deal with it, right? Everyone has to work with it, and everyone has this archetype in their psyche.
So anima is sort of, if you think about femininity and not female, but more these qualities such as creativity, intuition, emotion, that soulfulness that we kind of can sense in us, the emotive part of us, the force within us.
Yeah,
All of
love. It's what we call love,
Yes.
typically, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about it as love, as the power of love in our human nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
In thinking about how we fall in love, this gives us a good example of the archetype in action.
Mm-hmm.
So for a man, when we project our anima, our soul, onto a woman, we experience falling in love because we're activating that archetype within our unconscious mind.
But we think that the person is the holder of the love, the provider of the love, or bringing love to you, because we're not conscious, or he's not conscious of his anima.
That's what projection means, exactly. That we see it externally. So
we don't own it ourselves.
Right.
We don't think it's within us. We see it out there.
Yes, that's projection.